Twitter has been blowing up for the past week or two. Well, to be fair, when is it ever not blowing up over one thing or another? But this time, it's specifically on the topic of Genshin Impact. I cannot stress this enough, but I love Genshin Twitter. No, I'm not joking. I really, really do. So here's the situation. I think a lot of Genshin fans already know this, but Genshin Impact is releasing a new region called Natlan, and they have also revealed the new characters that will be coming with the new region. Now, supposedly, the different regions in Genshin Impact is inspired by real-world regions, according to the fan base. For example, Mondstadt is inspired by Germany, Liyue, China, Inazuma, Japan, Sumeru, Egypt, India, and Middle Eastern countries, Fontaine, France, and of course, Natlan, again, is inspired by a real-world region. Now, I can't find any actual official source saying which region Natlan is based on. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you do find it. But the player base basically assumes that it's based on Mesoamerica, Latin America, with some Spanish and West Africa influences, right? But here's the issue. Genshin Impact's players, well, at least the ones that go on Twitter, are not happy with the design of the new characters because they think the characters' designs are not a good representation of the real-life regions that inspired Natlan's design. They specifically have an issue with the skin color of the new characters not matching the majority population of the real-world regions that Natlan has been supposedly inspired by. They said that if you are designing a region based off of real-world regions, you should also design the character based on the people of the said regions. So the people started emailing the customer service, showing their dissatisfaction with the designs, right? And they actually got a reply back. They basically said that the players' opinions has been heard and has been forwarded to the responsible department, which could mean a lot of things. And it does not necessarily mean that they will make any changes, but you also have responses like this one that just says, please be kindly reminded that Genshin is a work of fiction, right? And then you have other people editing the official art of the characters to what they think the character should look like. And a lot of people agree with it, saying that it looks so much better that way, right? This one has been always a fan favorite for some reason, but you also have regular complaints like this one. You'll have to excuse me for censoring this because this is a leak, but this person is complaining that one of the new characters, Kachina, is inspired by Native Americans but is doing capoeira, an Afro-Brazilian martial arts, in one of her idol animations. Now, I'm not really sure if this is actually capoeira or not, and it looks like Community Note thinks it's breakdancing, but that's like essentially saying an invention by a group of people should be only used by said group of people and no one else. Like, only Japanese people can watch anime, or only Koreans can practice Taekwondo, right? And then you have people asking other people to start attacking other Hoyoverse games, and the classic complaining about Genshin Impact in a completely different application. It's always really interesting to me that some people take their anger out on something that is completely irrelevant to their cause. It's almost like they got lost in their own arguments. There's apparently even a boycott happening. They have a to-do list telling you what to do and what not to do to support their cause. Things like sharing their posts, spreading word, but don't harass the voice actors, etc., etc. But my personal favorite is contacting cultural ambassadors. But honestly, I think I can do a bit better. Let me call up my boy Joey B or Donnie T to back you guys up. I think those two are a little bit better than a cultural ambassador. I don't know, I just never expected that contacting cultural ambassadors will be on the bingo board for boycotting a video game company located in China. But apparently the boycott is not going so well, as a lot of players are hyped for the updates. Well, to be fair, they might not be the ones complaining. Oh, we're not done yet. There is also a petition on change.org titled "Stop Cultural Appropriation and Whitewashing in miHoYo Games," and it currently has almost 100k signatures. This discussion has gotten so big that content creators for the game like Dora44, Blob, Dish, and even the official voice actors for the game has spoken up about it. And even IGN covered it. You have Dish saying that the fan redesigns are carrying, Doro saying that he's disappointed, and Valera, which is the voice actor for Sucrose, one of the characters in the game, has said that they feel disrespected. Now, this isn't the first time Genshin players have had issues with cultural representation. Back when Sumeru came out, players also had issues with the skin colors of essentially every character that got released in the region and have had this exact conversation. Now, I personally don't think Hoyoverse is completely unaware of the situation even overseas at their headquarters, but they can choose to care or not. For example, just recently with the 4.8 update, one of the characters, Nivlek, got nerfed. They bug fixed one of his attacks. Now, there's nothing wrong with bug fixes, but this happened months after the character got released when everyone thought it was an intended interaction. And for gacha games, messing with a character's kit after they got released, especially after a character has been out for quite a bit, is pretty much deemed to be unacceptable by the player base. And apparently this nerf enraged a good portion of the Chinese player base, so they started to dox the employees of the company, people that actually work there, and threatened to sue for false advertisement, which is kind of ironic since I'm pretty sure doxing is illegal, at least over here in the good old America. Maybe the laws are different over there, but that's like suing someone for breaking the law while you break the law yourself. So without the outrage, However sent out an announcement saying that they are going to revert the nerfs done to the characters on the same day that they announced the nerf on. Congratulations, the player base have won. But I feel like that sets like a bad example. Like, that's basically saying if you're not happy with the changes, just dox us and threaten to sue us and we'll listen. I think for a company, especially one that only develops gacha games, are really only worried about two things: how to make the most money and how to not break the law. I know it sounds kind of grim to say this, but I don't think doxing employees was what made them fold like paper. It might be the fact that they are just afraid of getting sued by the insane fan base. For the people over there at Twitter that want your voice to be heard and want them to make a change, you really only need to do one thing. You just need to prove that your proposed changes will actually make them more money. And you can't just pull up Twitter in front of Dawei and his board of directors and say that, well, you see all of these people and I will pay to get the characters if you change them to a darker skin color. They just look so much better and we'll all pay for it. That's not really how it works. I'm fairly confident that they have hundreds of actual financial professionals crunching numbers, making sure every detail on a character will maximize the amount of sales on a character banner, from the physical design all the way to the positioning of the constellations. But then again, take it with a grain of salt because I'm just a guy talking to the camera alone in his room. So you can do that or convince a good portion of the players to actually quit the game. Now, from what it looks like, it seems like everyone is pissed off, right? Every Genshin player is pissed off based on what you see on social media. But let's do a bit of math. Let's just use the numbers on the petition for simplicity. 90K. You know what? Let's round that up to 100K, which is honestly a lot. But let's see how many players Genshin Impact actually has. According to the internet, they have around 60 million monthly players. But you know what? Let's say half of those players have quit playing the game, so we have like 30 million. And let's say not everyone is aware of the petition, and the actual amount of people that want Hoyoverse to change the skin color of the characters is 5 times. You know what? 10 times the amount of the number of signatures on change.org. So 10 times 100K is 1 million. 1 million over 30 million is about 3% of the player base. Now, I'm not sure what percentage of the player base you actually need to have a successful boycott, but let's do like 20%. That's a good amount, right? But that would also mean that 20% of the player base essentially needs to become a hive mind. Because even though someone can say they quit the game, doesn't necessarily mean they will quit the game. But you might be like, Paikon, if they change the characters to what we want, they will still make money, right? It might not be as much as what they expected it to be, but they can still profit, right? Why can't they change the characters to what we want to make us happy? You know, show some appreciation for us, right? Now, I know a big portion of the player base is really young and might not understand this, but for most, if not all companies, it's not about just making a profit. It's about making the most profits. Like I said, they have teams dedicated to designing features on a character that will probably be the most profitable. So regardless of what people say over at Twitter, they probably have all the data that they need to design a character even way before the region got released. It's a sad reality, but that's how it is. Now you might be like, PyCon, what about you? Where do you stand? Personally, I don't really care about the design of the character, as in I don't like or dislike a character based on their design or model. I mostly care about the character's kit and the weapon they use, but I think everyone has a right to their own opinion. I think everyone boycotting and asking for a change has every right to do so. At the end of the day, I think as long as you're not harassing or forcing other people to speak up or agree with you, you are completely free to speak your mind. But that's it from me. Maybe I'll find something else interesting to talk about. But until then, I'll see you guys later.